Good morning. We are getting really close to the end of the last vampire. Trista and Ray. Trista is about to meet her maker. Well, meet her maker. It's going to be the death of her, supposedly. They're supposed to die together. And to force her to do this, Ray has been killed. So, shall we begin? Give me your blood. What happens when you do? Does it make you weak? I hug him, glad that I can squeeze his body with all my strength and not break his bones. Don't worry about me. I saved you because I wanted to save you. Is my father really dead? I let go of him, look into his eyes. Yes. He has trouble looking at me, even though he is a vampire now, a predator. Even though his thought processes have begun to alter. He didn't protest when I told him about the blood drinking, but his love for his father goes deeper than blood. Was it necessary, he asked? Yes. Did he suffer? No. Less than a minute. I squeeze his hand and add I am sorry. He finally raises his eyes. You gave me your blood out of guilt as well. I nod. I had to give something back after what I had taken. Oh my God. He puts his hand to his head. He doesn't completely forgive me, but he understands, and for that I am grateful. He still misses his father. We won't talk about it, he says. That is fine. I stand. We have much to do. Yaksha is returning at dawn. We cannot destroy him with brute force, even with our combined strengths, but we might be able to trick him. We will talk as we work. He stands. You have a plan? I have more than a plan. I have a rocket ship. Oh, yes. As you remember yesterday, she stole all these explosives. Welding the sheets of metal together so that we have 6 inches of protection does not take long. I work outside with the arc gun so that Yaksha will not notice the smell when he enters the house. He will have to come into the house since I won't go out to him, cutting a huge rectangle in the floor to accommodate the metal plate. However, takes a lot of time. I fret as the hours slip by. Ray is not much help because he has not acquired my expertise in everything yet. Finally, I tell him to sit and watch. He doesn't mind. His eyes are everywhere, staring at common objects, seeing them things he never imagined before. A vampire on acid, I call him. He laughs. It is good to hear laughter. As I work, I do not feel Yaksha in the area. It is fortunate. My speed picks up when I bolt the 2 chairs to the plate and recover the plate with the carpet. Here I do not have to work so carefully. The skirts of the chairs cover much. When I'm done, the living room appears normal. I plan to use the end table to hide the detonator to the bomb. I will strap beneath the steel plate. I bore a long hole through the table and slip in a metal rod that goes through to the metal plastic. I hide the tip of the rod under the lamp base. I place a blasting cap on at the top end of it. When the time comes, I will hit the top of the small table with the rod, will crush the blasting cap, and the first bomb will go off, sending us flying. Well, that's the theory anyway. The other bomb should go off as well, almost immediately. I keep coming back to that point in my mind because it is a central weakness in my plan. I hope we will be high enough to take the shock from the second bomb from below so the plate will protect us. That's the rocket ship. Attaching the bomb beneath the plate takes only a minute. I use 20 sticks of dynamite, tightly bound. I place 50 sticks, a whole crate, beside the fireplace in the living room, next to the most comfortable chair in the house. That seat I will offer Yaksha. We will live or die depending on how accurate my calculations are, and how well we play our parts in front of Yaksha. That is the other serious weakness in my plan, that Yaksha will sense something amiss. For that reason I have instructed Ray to say little or nothing at all, but I am confident I can lie to Yaksha. I lie as effortlessly as I tell the truth, perhaps more easily. Now that is the fault in the plan, because what if Yaksha can read their minds? Ray and I sit in our special flight chairs and talk. The bomb in the crate sits 30 feet away, directly in front of us. Above us, I have opened the skylights. The cold night air feels good. For once, even with them open, we will still strike glass as we rocket by. I warn Ray, but he is not worried. I have already died once today, he says. You must have had your nose pressed against the glass to fall with it. I didn't until just before he raised his flute. I nod. He glanced at the house then. He must have pulled you forward with the power of his eyes. He can do that. How? He can do many things. He has more power than you? Yes. Why is that? He's the original vampire. I glance at the time. An hour to dawn. Would you like to hear a story of his birth? I would like to hear all your stories, I smile. You sound like Seymour. I visited him tonight while you slept. I gave him a present. I will tell you about it another time. I pause and take a breath. I need it for strength. The simple work of a terrorist has exhausted me. Where to begin the tale? Where will I end it? It doesn't seem right that they could all be over in an hour. Right. What a word choice for a vampire to make. I who have violated every injunction of the Vedas and the Bible and every other holy book on earth, death never comes at the right time, despite what mortals believe. Death always comes like a thief. I tell Ray of the birth of Yaksha and how he in turn made me a vampire. I talk to him about meeting Krishna, but here my words fail me. I do not weep. I do not rave. I simply cannot talk about him. Ray understands. He encourages me to tell him about my life in another era. Were you in ancient Greece? He asks. I was always fascinated by that culture. Okay, here's a hint. Talking about Greece sets up for the next book. I nod. No, not the next book. Oh, the fourth book. Alright, I nod. I was there for a long time. I knew secretaries, Socrates, and Plato, Aristotle. Socrates recognized me as something inhuman, but I didn't scare him. He was fearless, that man. He laughed and he drank the poison he was sentenced to drink. I shake my head at the memory. The Greeks were inquisitive. There was one young man, Cleo. History has does not remember him. He was as brilliant as the others. My voice falters again. He was dear to me. I lived with him for many years. Did he know you were a vampire? I laugh. He thought I was a witch, but he liked witches. Tell me about him, Ray says. I met Cleo during the time of Socrates. I had just returned to Greece after being away for many years. That's my pattern. I stay in one place only as long as my youth. My constant youth doesn't become suspicious. When I returned to Athens, no one remembered me. Cleo was one of the first people I encountered. I was walking into into the woods when I found him helping to deliver a baby. In those days, that was unheard of. Only women were present at births. Even though he was covered with blood and obviously busy, he took an immediate liking to me. He asked me to help him, which I did, and when the child was born, he handed it to the mother and we went for a walk. He explained that he had worked out a better way to deliver babies and had wanted to test his theories. He also admitted that he was the father of the infant, but that was not important to him. Why not? Cleo was a great doctor, but he was never recognized by his peers. He was ahead of his time. He refined the technique of the cesarean delivery, or the C-section. He experimented with magnets and how they could restore ailing organs. The positive pole of the magnet to stimulate the organ, the negative pole to pacify it. He had an understanding of how the aromas of certain flowers could affect health. He was also the first chiropractor. He was always adjusting people's bodies, cracking their necks and backs. He tried to adjust me once and sprained his wrists. You can see why I liked him. I went on to explain how I knew Cleo for many years and spoke of his one fatal flaw, his obsession with seducing the wives of Athens, powerful men. He was eventually caught in bed with the wife of an important general and beheaded with a smile on his face, while many of the women of Athens wept. Wonderful Cleo. I talk of a life I had as an English duchess in the Middle Ages, what it was like to live in a castle. My words bring back the memories, the constant drafts, the stone walls, the roaring fires at night. How black those nights could be. My name was Melissa, and in the summer months I would ride a white horse through the green countryside and laugh at the advances made to me by the knights in shining armor. I even accepted a couple of offers to jostle, offers that the men later regretted making. I speak of a life in the South during the American Civil War, the burning and pillaging of the Yankees as they stormed across Mississippi. A note of bitterness enters my voice. I do not tell Ray everything. Not now. Not how I was abducted by a battalion of 20 soldiers and tied at the neck with a rope and forced to grovel through a swamp, while the men joked about what pleasure I would give them come sunset. I do not want to scare Ray, so I do not explain how each of those men died, how they screamed, especially the last ones, as they tried to flee from the swamp in the dark, from the swift white hands that tore off their limbs and crushed their skulls. Finally, I tell him how I was in Cape Canaveral when Apollo 11 was launched toward the moon. How proud I was of humanity then, that they had finally reclaimed their adventurous spirit they had known so well in their youth. Ray takes joy in my pleasure of the memory. It makes me forget the horror that awaits us, which is part of the reason I share the story. Did you ever want to go to the moon? He asks. Pluto. Much farther than the sun, you know. More comfortable for a vampire. Did you grieve when Cleo died? I smile, although there's suddenly a fear in my eye. No, he lived the life he wanted. Had he lived too long, he would have begun to bore himself. I understand. Good, I say. But Ray doesn't really understand. He misconstrues the sentiment of I shall. My, my tear is not for Cleo. It is for my long life. The, the totality of it. All the people and places that are part of it. Such a rich book of history to slam shut and store away in a forgotten corner. I grieve for all the stories I will never have a chance to tell Seymour and Ray. I grieve for the vow I have broken. I grieve for Yaksha and the love I could never give him. Most of all, I grieve for my soul because even though I do finally believe that there is a God and that I have met him, I do not know if he has given me an immortal soul, but only one that was to last me as long as my body lasted. I do not know if when the last pages of my book is closed, that will be the end of me. Darkness approaches from outside. I feel no light inside me strong enough to resist it. He is coming, I say. Here comes the Yaksha, meeting of Yaksha. Chapter 13. There is a knock at the door. I call out to come in. He enters. He is alone, dressed in black, a cape, a hat. He makes a stunning figure. He nods and I gesture for him to take the chair across from us. He has not brought his flute. He sits in the chair near the crate of the dynamite and smiles at both of us. But there is no joy in the smile. I think he truly does regret what is about to happen. Outside, behind us, through the broken windows, a hint of light enters the black sky. Ray sits silently staring at our visitor. It is up to me to make conversation. Are you happy? I ask. I have known happiness at times, Yaksha says, but it has been a long time. But you have what I want, I insist. I have broken my vow. I have made another evil creature, another thing for you to destroy. I feel no compulsions these days, Sita, except to rest. I want to rest as well. He raises an eyebrow. You said you wanted to live. It is my hope there will be life for me after this life is over. I assume that is your hope as well. I assume that is why you are going to all this trouble, to wreck my night. You always had a way with words. Thank you. Yaksha hesitates. Do you have any last words? A few. May I decide how we die? You want us to die together? Of course, I say. Yaksha nods. I prefer it that way. He glances at a crate of dynamite beside him. You have made us a bomb, I see. I like bombs. I know. You can be the one to light it. You see, the fuse there, the lighter beside it. Go ahead, old friend. Strike the flame. We can burn together. I lean forward. Maybe we can have burned a long time ago. Yaksha picks up the lighter. He considers Ray. How do you feel, young man? Strange, Ray says. I would set you free if I could, Yaksha says. I would leave you both alone, but it has to end, one way or another. This is Yaksha. I have never heard before. He never explained himself to anyone. Sita had told me your reasons, Ray says. Your father is dead, Yaksha says. I know. Yaksha pulls his thumb across the lighter and stares at it. I never knew my father. I saw him once, I say. Ugly bastard. Are you going to do it, or do you want me to do it? Are you so anxious to die? Yaksha asks. I never could wait for the excitement to begin, I say sarcastically. He nods and moves the flame to the end of the fuse. It begins to fizzle. He nods. It begins to fizzle. It begins to shorten quickly. There are 3 minutes of time coil in that combustible string. Yaksha sits back in his chair. I had a dream as I walked by the ocean tonight, he says, listening to the sound of the waves. It seemed I entered a dimension where the water was singing a song that no one had ever heard before, a song that explained everything in the creation. But the magic of the song was that it could never be recognized for what it was, not by any living soul. If the truth was brought out into the open and discussed, then the magic would die and the waters would evaporate, and that is what happened. In my dream, as this realization came to me, I came into the world. I killed all the creatures the waters had given life to, and then one day I woke up and realized I had been listening to a song. Just a sad song, played out on a flute, I asked. The fuse burns. There is no reason for me to delay, yet I do. His dream moves me. Perhaps, Yaksha says softly. In the dream, the ocean vanished from my side. I walked along an endless, barren plain of red dust. The ground was a dark rod, as if a huge being had bled over it for centuries, then left the sun to parch dry what the being had lost, or what it had stolen from others. I say, perhaps. Yaksha says again. What does this dream mean? I ask. I was hoping you could tell me, Sita. What can I tell you? I don't know your mind. But you do. It is the same as yours. No. Yes. How else could I know your mind? I tremble. His voice has changed. He is alert. He always was to everything that was happening around him. I was a fool to think I could trick him. Yet I do not reach for the metal rod that will detonate the bomb. I will try to play the fool a little longer. I speak. Maybe your dream means that if we stay on Earth and once more multiply, then we will make wasteland of this world. How would we multiply this late in the game? He asks. I told you can have no children. Krishna told you something similar. It is his turn to lean forward. What else did he tell you, Sita? Nothing. You are lying. No. Yes. With his left hand he reaches for the burning fuse, his fingers hovering over the sparks as if he intends to crush them. Yet he lets the countdown continue. You cannot trick me. How do I trick you, Yaksha? You are not waiting to die. I see it in your eyes. Really? They are not like my eyes. You are a vampire, I say, casually, as if I am stretching. I move my hand toward the lampstand. You can't talk. You can't look in a mirror. There would be nothing there. What do you know about your own eyes? I joke. Of course, I am one bundle of laughs. He smiles. I'm happy to see time has not destroyed your wit. I hope it has not destroyed your reason. You are quick. I am quicker. You can do nothing that I cannot stop. He pauses. I suggest you stop. My hand freezes in midair. Damn, I think. He knows, of course. He knows. But does he really? I cannot remember what he said, I say. Your memory is perfect as is mine. Then you tell me what he said. I cannot. He whispered in your ear. He did that so that I would not hear. He knew I was listening, even though I was lying there with the venom in my veins. Yes, I heard your original vow to him, but he did not want me to hear the last part. He would have had his reasons, I'm sure, but the time for those reasons must be past. We're both going to die in a few seconds. Did he make you a second vow? The fuse burns. No. Yaksha sits up. Did he say anything about me? Shorter and shorter it burns. No. Why won't you answer my question? The truth hurts. Bursts out of me. I've wanted to say it for a long time because I hate you. Why? Because you stole my love, my Rama, and Lalita. You steal my love away now, when I have finally found it again. I will hate you for eternity, and if that is not enough to stop you from being in his grace, then I will hate him as well. I point to Ray. Let him go. Let him live. Yaksha is surprised. I have stunned the devil. You love him? You love him more than your own life? There is only pain in my chest. The fourth center, the fourth note. It is as if it is off key. Yes. Yaksha's tone softens. Did he tell you something about love? I nod, weeping. I feel so helpless. Yes. What did he tell you? He said, where there is love, there is my grace. The sound of his flute is too far away. There is no time to be grateful for what I have been given in my long life. I feel as if I will choke on my grief. I can only see Ray, my lover, my child. All the years he will be denied. He looks at me with such trusting eyes, as if, somehow, I will still manage to save him. He told me to remember that. He told me the same thing. Yaksha pauses to wonder. It must be true. Yeah, he adds casually. You and your friend can go. I look up. What? You broke your vow because you love this young man. It is the only reason you broke it. You must still have Krishna's grace. You only became a vampire to protect Rama and your child. You must have had his grace from the beginning. That is why he showed you such kindness. I did not see that till now. I cannot harm you. He would not wish me to. Yaksha glances at the burning feud. You had better hurry. The sparks of the short fuse are like the final sands of an hourglass. I grab Ray's hand, leap up, and pull him toward the front door. I do not open the door with my hand. I kick it open, the wrong way. The hinges rupture. The wood splinters. The night airs open before us. I shove Ray out ahead of me. Run, I shout. But run! He hears me finally and dashes for the trees. I turn and I do not know why. The chase is over. The race is won. There is no reason to tempt fate. What I do know is that the most foolish act of my life. I stride back into the living room. Yaksha stares out at the dark sea. I stand behind him. You have 10 seconds, he says. Hate and fear and love are all in the heart. I felt that when he played his flute. I touch his shoulder. I don't just hate you. I didn't just fear you. He turns and looks at me. He smiles. He always had a devilish grin. I know that, Sita, he says. Goodbye. Goodbye. I leap for the front door. I am outside, 30 feet off the front porch, and when the bombs go off, the power of the shock wave is extraordinary, even for me to absorb. It lifts me up, and for a few moments it is as if I can fly, but does not set me down softly. At one point in the trajectory, fate makes me a marksman's prize bird, an object hot and sharp, piercing me from behind. Uh-oh. What went from behind? It goes through my heart. A stake. I land in a ball of agony. The night burns behind me. My blood sears as it pours from the wound in my chest. Ray is beside me, asking me what he should do. I writhe in the dirt, my fingers clawing into the earth, but I do not want to go into the ground. No, not after walking on it for so long. I try to get words out. It is not easy. I see I have impaled by the splintered leg of my piano bench. I pull it out. I gasp. The stick? It is the first stupid thing I have heard Ray say. I turn my front to him. Yes. Ray grabs the end of the leg. The wood is literally flaming, although it has passed through my body. He yanks hard. The stick breaks. He has got half of it. The other half is still in my body. Too bad for me. I close my eyes for an instant and see a million red stars. I blink. They explode as if the universe has ended. There remains only red light everywhere, the color of the sunset, the color of blood. I find myself settling onto my back. My head rolls on to one side. Cool mud touches my cheek. It warms as my blood pours from my mouth and puddles around my head. A red stain, almost black in the fiery night, spreads down my beautiful blonde hair. Ray weeps. I look at him with such love. I honestly feel I see Krishna's face. It is not the worst way to die. I love you, I whisper. He hugs me. I love you, Sita. So much love. I think I close my eyes and the pain recedes. There must be some grace, so much protection for me if Krishna meant what he said. Of course, I believe he meant it. I do believe in miracles. I wonder if I will die after all. To be continued. Oh, so good. So, tomorrow, we will be reading the second book. Oh, yes. I believe it is called Black Blood. So it would be The Last Vampire, Book 2. Last Blood. Oh, my goodness. Now, if you like YA horror, you like mystery adventures with lots of laughs, teen romance that is spooky and creepy, like Fear Street and Goosebumps, you may like Vampire Juice. Here is my blurb. Amanda and Sean stumble upon a mysterious can of juice while searching for Halloween costumes at a local store. Despite being kicked out by the sales clerk, they become obsessed with uncovering the truth behind the strange drink. With the help from some local bullies, they sneak back into the store through a crypt in the graveyard, only to find themselves in the midst of a spine-chilling adventure. Okay, today I knew we would finish early, so I'm going to read a short story I wrote. It's my first short story. It is from short story from my book, Short Stories or Tales. It is called The Life Cycle, A Journey's Tale. The winter wind screams as it blows across my face. I open my eyes. Tears roll down my cheek and freeze. The cold travels along my spine. I shiver. A contagious echo of crying swells into my being. I cannot stop. Mother hums a soothing song. She warms my body and soul. I bellow a yawn and close my eyes. I squint. It is another cold morning. Mother's vast arms do not protect me from the sun's rays. Talking and giggling ring through the winter silence. Hello, I yell. The laughing stops. The wind whistles through Mother's branches. Go back to sleep, my children. It is not time to wake up. She begins to hum, and within a few minutes, we are asleep. The warm rain splinters across my face as I take a long drink. My eyes are heavy. I am in a state of consciousness, in between awake and asleep. I jolt awake from the sound of voices. Hello, I say. Welcome to the world of the living, sleepyhead, replies my big brother. The water droplets trickle along his many arms. He reminds me of a green star. I smile and then chuckle. My laugh starts soft, then it becomes louder and louder with each passing moment. My brother stares at me. What's funny? He asks. I don't know. A weird sensation to laugh is controlling my actions. He points to something below us. Do you see the orange-breasted creature? I peer over the edge and then nod at him. Watch this. He spits an enormous loogie, and it lands with a splat. The phlegm hangs from the creature's beak. Now that's funny, he says. We grin and spit a loogie together. Yip yip, it says, as the loogie bounces off his forehead and splatters into the left eye. We giggle as we sway in time with a cool breeze. At the fork of Mother's great arms, the orange-beasted creature molds its home using small pieces of mother it finds on the ground. It mixes dirt with spit to create a substance called mud to fill in any cracks. Whoa, it is a clever creature indeed. The creature gathers green fluffy stuff from the ground to make a soft bed. It steals from Mother and the forest floor. It is evil, and I do not trust it. What is it going to take next? One of my brothers? Do you know who's telling the story yet? Have you figured it out? The bird stalks along the ground with its keen eyes. It spots the slightest movement in the green fluffy stuff called grass. The bird plucks something from the dirt and swallows it. It is evil. It steals Mother's small arms and then takes her food. I do not know why, but I feel violated. Do not be so quick to judge, little one. I pout and scowl at the bird. Where is the rain when you need it? 3 turquoise-colored objects appear in the bird's home. They are not visible, but they wink at me as it sits on them. Where did it steal the objects? The bird might be warming up its dessert. The objects must be strong, or the bird is not heavy. The squawking of 3 little mouths disturbed my sleep. "Will you shut up?" I scream. Of course, they do not understand mother's tongue. The mother bird returns with wiggling dirt creatures called worms, and drops them into their open mouths. Ah, silence echoes through mother's house. How long will it last? Mother bird has finally learned to give. She may not be evil, but we will see about the little rascals. They are loud, and I cannot sleep. One of the little rascals gets less restless. He ventures out of his home and hops onto one of mother's arms and snaps at one of my brothers until he has no arms left. The little rascal spits my brother out as if it is yesterday's trash. He peers at me. Uh-oh. What am I? Dessert? Do I look like a worm? He hops toward me and opens his beak as if he is going to take a bite. Mother, help! The little rascal clamps down at one of my arms. I become tense and try to resist, but it is of little use. My arm crumbles under his bite. He freezes. Mother bird circles mother before landing in the nest. The evil creature hops onto the nest as my arm hangs on by a thread. He tries to act innocent. He is not innocent. One by one, mother bird uses her beak to nudge the baby robins out of the nest. Good riddance. Hope they suffer an agonizing death. Revenge is a dish best. 6 little wings flutter before my eyes. Yip, yip. My mouth drops open. I cannot believe it. The little rascals are flying. They circle mother 3 times before soaring into the distance. I try to make my fist at them. My arm floats to the ground. The days become longer and hotter. The longer is not so bad, but the hotter is unbearable. I am not sure which is worse, the heat or the freezing temperatures. It has been several weeks since baby birds left. It is possible that they do not remember their way home. I say good riddance. No sounds of new beasts attacks on my brothers and sisters since the baby birds left. What can I really do? A large furry bug is chomping on my brother. He differs from the robins. Chomps does not spit out my brother. Instead, he savors each bite as if it is his last. I feel the pain of my brother as Chomps bites him again. The screams stop. The pain pauses. He crawls to another victim, and screams begin again, along with the pain. I have to sleep each night with the fear of waking up to a new missing brother or sister. He gets closer as each day passes. It might be better if Chomps swallows me now. I'm exhausted from living each day with the anxiety that one day Chomps will choose me for his meal. Chomps crawls toward me. I do not think my heart can take this much longer. I may keel over and die long before he takes his first bite. Wow, he is fat. I need a needle so I can pop him like a balloon. Mother, mother, I scream. He has abandoned us as we Are we pawns in a chess game? Chomps inches toward me with hungry eyes. Each step he takes brings me closer to my own death. He stops and wraps his feet around one of Mother's tiny arms. At first, he spins slowly. Then he spins faster and faster until he becomes a blur. Chomp stops. I go from hating him with a passion to, I'm not sure what to think. The crawling garbage disposal has a protective shell. He destroys everything in his path and then creates a fortress. The little rascals need to come back and peck at it. I glare at it with malice for a couple of weeks. A whimpering sound echoes from inside. Something new emerges. Chomps is no longer a furry beastie. Instead, he has gone through a complete metamorphosis. He has vibrant colors dripping from his wet wings that he flaps back and forth. Have you figured out who's telling the story yet? I give the new creature the benefit of the doubt. If he does not harm any of my brothers and sisters, then he is all right in my book. I am still mesmerized by Chomp's beauty. The movements of his wings are hypnotic, while my eyes follow the wings up and down, up and down. Lightning bugs blink on and off in unison to the crickets chirping. Where did Chomps go? The days become cooler and shorter. I am covered with dew every morning. My body tingles as if I am going through a change. There is a buzz of excitement in the air. I cannot explain why. Perhaps it is the cooler temperatures. Far below me are strange orange objects with happy and scary faces. Flashing lights and frightening noises do not allow me to sleep at night. My brothers and sisters are changing into something wonderful before my eyes. The green disappears and is replaced with vibrant colors of red, yellow, and orange. I smile and dance to the rhythm of the wind. My brothers and sisters join me. We are having a dance party. The fiesta ends. Our colors fade and merge and create a solid light brown. Each day, more and more brothers and sisters leave. Mother leave Mother and rest on the ground below. Our time with Mother has come to an end. A gentle breeze rocks me back and forth. Why must I leave you? It is time, little one. Your journey is almost complete. A burst of wind releases my grip, and I float towards the ground. A gust blows me up, up, up towards Mother. Mother's great arms reaching to the sky. She looks at me and smiles. Go to sleep, little one. I close my eyes one last time and drift to the ground to join my brothers and sisters. My journey is finally complete, and what a journey it has been. Well, thanks for joining. That is from my book, Short Stories or Tales. And tomorrow we will be starting Vampire Juice, Book 2, Black Blood. See you then.